corsages are basically the same thing, but the corsages are a little bit more. I am going to show you, I've made several different kinds of boutonnieres. I made some with wooden flowers, some with natural flowers, some with tropical flowers, a winter version, but they're all basically constructed very similarly. Today I'm going to make a sort of spring arrangement, boutonniere and corsage. So the thing with boutonnieres is that they're going on someone's collar. So you want to make sure that the flowers that you pick are the right size. I'm going to use the boutonnieres. It's pretty simple. You want to take a couple of sort of main flowers. These are cute together, but I think 3 is too many, so let's take that one off. I'm going to put, this is got a little bit of yellow in it. It's not baby spray, it's a different honeysuckle. And I'm going to put that in here as well. Sort of go around. Again, just like with our other arrangements, height is important. You want things at varying heights. The most difficult part about boutonnieres is keeping them held together, and then when you lay them down and then pick them back up, making sure that they sort of stay together with the look that you want them to have. I like these little purple ones, so I'm going to just add another one a little bit lower. So here's the issue, is they kind of twist around a little bit when you're trying to use them. I'm just going to stem these up very simply like that. And you have a very sort of spring traditional boutonniere. Now you can add more to this if you want. You can put more mums. You can put some more filler. You can put some more ivy around the bottom. I kind of just like it like this. So I might do this other pale leaf sort of down here. So what I'm going to need to do now is to secure it somehow. So I'm going to do a little, this is the hardest part, especially if you're doing artificial flowers that are on wire. They tend to sort of float around and not stay where you want them to stay while you're trying to tie them up. So I'm going to show you a trick that my friend at Nicole, that's Weir Family Farm here in Catchers, taught me, and this is what she does. Is you put your ribbon here with a little bit of string, and then you take the other half, or the other side, and you just wrap it around several times, pulling it very tight. Then you cut the string. And then you just tie this with a square knot. You can tie it with a square knot and leave the edges sort of free like a bow tie, or you can tie it in a bow like you would your shoe. The trick is to just keep holding it nice and tight. So I could cut it here if it was a bigger ribbon and just leave it like a square knot, but I'm going to go ahead and tie this one into a bow. So once we're done with that, you trim the ribbon to length. And then you also trim your boutonniere. So this is sort of what you end up with, a very spring tip. I do not put roses in boutonnieres, full-size roses, because as you can see, let's look at the size difference here. It's quite large. I would use this for maybe a corsage. For boutonnieres, I would use spray roses, which are much smaller. And say, for instance, I wanted to do that with this one. I don't have any spray roses with me today, so I'm going to use these carnations as a substitute. They're much smaller, as you can see, in scale, and it will fit on someone's lapel a little bit better. But these have sort of seen better days. They're a little bit droopy. So I'm going to wire this up, and that's going to allow us to put it into a corsage or a boutonniere. So I wanted to show you this because a lot of times the boutonnieres and the corsages, that's sort of what's left at the end of your floral thing. You use the sort of little, as they say, bits and bobs to make these little boutonnieres. So sometimes you might have one with a broken stem or broken head. You don't have to throw those flowers away. You can stem them up and use them for your boutonnieres. So what you do is you take the wire and you put it through this part of the flower, and you just go all the way through. Then you can bend it down, and then you don't want to put it too tight because you don't want to break the stem, but you want to wrap it around. And then same with the other side. Wrap it around the stem and also the wire that you just pulled on. So what I like to do at this point, because I don't ever like anyone's clothes getting poked, is cut off the excess and then take this floral tape. And you can just go right around this stem, this new stem that you've created. And this covers the wires, makes it look more green, but it also sort of covers the sharpness of the wires. So I've gone all the way down to the bottom. I'm going to twist and I'm going to come back up to the top. If you are using solar flowers or wood flowers or some other artificial flower that doesn't have a thick stem, that's just on sort of silver wires like this, these are very hard to hold together while you tie. So putting some of this tape on this wire will also help you to hold it together and help you keep your boutonniere together or your corsage as you tie it together and connect it. So now I have this one with a very good stem. It's nice and upright, and I can even sort of aim it if I want it to turn a little bit towards the front, away from the lapel. So that is something that I could, if I wanted, come through and add to this little bouquet. If, say, I wanted to have a rose or a larger flower like a carnation added into this look. I kind of like it just like this though, so I'm going to save this and maybe use it in my corsage. For the same spring wedding, I'm going to make a corsage, and the thing about corsages is they're very similar to the boutonnieres. So you want to keep this same look. They're coming from the same wedding, the same event. They want to look like they go together. However, because it is a corsage, maybe something special for the mother of the bride or something like that, I'm going to go ahead and use a rose. However, this rose, again, it's on a broken stem. It's got some ugly guard petals, so I'm going to go ahead and just pluck my guard petals off. So I'm going to add in some similar flowers here. I want to maybe add in of my carnations, some of the yellow mums that I had in the. I'm going to put some filler in first. As you can see, as you're holding it, it gets a little bit wonky. This is, as I said, the hardest part, is keeping everything sort of together the way that you like it, the way that you want it to look for the corsage. I'm going to add a little bit of greenery to the back of this particular one. Okay, so at this point I feel like this is large enough. I could have added some more, maybe of this baby's breath here. Let me just see how I like it. It's looking a little bit large if I do that. Just coming down the back with it. Actually, I don't like that, so I'm just going to pull it right back out. Just sort of leave it with these smaller flowers and the greenery. I feel like these two go to the same family. So there's two things that I can do. One is I can try to wrap a wire around this while I secure it with my ribbon. I can try to do it the same way I did the boutonniere, but there's a lot more to hold onto. Or I can put a little piece of floral tape. I'm going to put a little piece of floral tape to just kind of hold it together while I finish the rest of the construction. That just makes it easier for me as I'm doing this. So I'm going to also want to cut the stems off so that they're all level. If anybody got twisted or turned during the promotion, I want to fix that. Just to tie it in a little bit more, I'm going to add a couple of pieces of the kale, just as sort of background filler. I'll take that up and add the bow. For the bow, I'm going to want to do something a little bit poofier than we did for the boutonniere. So I'm going to just create a basic bow and put the wires around the corsage, and then in the back doing another twisty tie. Then I just sort of arrange this where I want it to be, fluff out the bows, clip off the back as close to the twisty tie as I can. and then push this part, this sharp part, back into the corsage so it's not going to kind of poke anyone or pinch anyone. Since this is a very natural wedding, I'm going to just leave the bottom stems the way they are. However, you can wrap them in twine, similar to the way I did this one, or you can put ribbon, use ribbon, and go all the way down. I don't want to do that